Hey guys, welcome back to Naturally Paige. I am super excited to be starting my very first series in Wifey Wednesdays. So today I am super excited because I am launching a new series that I'm going to be doing, which is going to be all things Christian dating, courtship, boundaries, you name it. I'm going to be doing it and I'm so excited to get started. This is probably the most asked topic on my Instagram page and even on my channel, and it's just now something that I really feel led to share about, because I know that for so many who are trying to navigate how do I find love, or how do I engage in a relationship while still making sure that I'm pleasing the Lord, and it can be such a tricky balance in that before stage. And I really and truly just kind of want to delve in, because I think that in the Christian community we don't have enough support as persons who are dating. You have the singles ministry and you have the married ministry, and it's kind of just like, I'm stuck in between. What do I do? So this is going to be the series for you. But before we go any further, I'm going to ask you that if you're new here, please just make sure that you subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications so you know every single time that I post. And if you like this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up and share it with someone who you think would love it too. So for today's own, I want to start off with single and content. Now let me give a disclaimer. I was a relationship tete. Like, I was just always in a relationship. I'm talking like from high school, come straight back up. I was just in a lot of relationships back to back. And I can't say that the majority of my time was not spent single. And I actually think that set me up to fail. Now, in contrast, my sister was very careful with entering into relationships. And funny enough, I used to tease her about it all the time, but I actually think it better prepared her to walk into her marriage. I'm not saying that, you shouldn't be in a relationship at all. That's not what I believe. I know that there's some persons who believe that you should only enter into one relationship before you're entering into marriage. I personally don't believe in that. That was not my story, and I know that there's a lot that I learned about myself in those relationships that I probably wouldn't have learned had I just been waiting. But to each their own, and that's the thing I think that's so important. It's so important to realize that in this walk we each have our own convictions and we each have our own relationship with the Lord to know, what is it that's set for me. I really and truly never felt that calling to, oh, I'm not going to enter into any relationship until I know that he's going to be the one for me. That was not me. No, it could have probably saved me a lot of heartache, but the truth is that I enjoyed my time as a teenager and a young adult in relationships. My very first very serious relationship, of course there were some little foo-foo ones before, but my very first serious relationship actually started when I was 16, and we ended up, after 9 months of being together, we ended up being in a long distance relationship for 2 years. Now, at 16 and 17, ain't nobody being serious, but we were so committed. We were just so into each other and like truly in love. And he ended up migrating, and it just didn't work out. And the truth is that it wasn't a lack of love, or it wasn't a lack of being compatible. It's just that he migrated and I had no desire whatsoever to live overseas. And so it was just like, logistically, it's like, this can't work. You're not coming back to Jamaica and I'm not going up there, so this doesn't make any sense. But in that time, I know that my parents probably thought that, why is this so serious? Like, I'm pretty sure they thought that this was going to end like 2 months after he left. But we were so consistent, and that relationship, I think, taught me the importance of communication, because we had nothing else. We did not have any physical contact. We did not have to show you how long ago this was, we did not have FaceTime, Skype, any of those things. We had to use a webcam. I had to purchase a webcam, hook it up to my MSN Messenger, and that was our relationship for 2 years. And when I look back at it, I'm just like, how did I do that? Like, I am a person who I crave physical touch, I crave quality time in person, and I have no idea how we manage that. But that relationship taught me that, when everything else goes and everything else fades, if you have communication, it can work. Like, if you guys can communicate, My parents were just like, every day I used to like dash home to like go online, sign on, because I have to talk to him. And it was, man, that was a romance. My parents even offered to pay for me to go to Hong Kong for a church conference. And homegirl was like, no, because Bay was coming home for the summer and I was not missing that. And I'm just like, no, I'm looking back and I'm like, my girl, you could have got Hong Kong. You're still for your boyfriend. But at that time, it definitely was the best thing that I could have done for a relationship. To this day, we are friends and we wish each other well. And to me, it is a great example of the fact that, you know, if you start off with the right basis of friendship and you go through with great communication, that really and truly can build some lifelong relationships and friendships. You know, not all relationships have to end badly. It doesn't have to be doomsday, you know. So fast forwarding, I went through a couple other relationships, not as serious, and then I entered into a very serious relationship when I was about, 21? And that lasted for 2 years. And that relationship, I think, for me was what let me realize that I needed to decide what I wanted for my life. He was a great guy, you know. It's just that, and it's so funny, my dad loved him. My dad really loved this guy, but he was not a Christian. And I knew that that broke my dad's heart. You know, he didn't want me to marry someone who didn't love the Lord. He didn't want that for me. And back then I didn't understand that because I loved him, and so what's the big deal? That whatever. But now I see why my father wanted something more for me. No, that relationship, how it ended, isn't something I'm necessarily proud of. And I will say this very clearly, that emotionally being connected to somebody else, though you may not think that you're cheating physically, it is cheating. I know some people disagree with that, but I think that I have now had to come to terms with the fact that if you become emotionally involved with someone else while you're in a relationship, yeah. I know it's a fine line, because how do you have friendships with members of the opposite sex if you're in a relationship and not cross that line? But there's a line. And to this day, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna post this. I think I'm gonna shoot an alternative ending just in case I decide to not, because it opens up a whole, because it's not just me involved, you know, it opens up a whole thing. Moving on. So that relationship came to an end, and then I went through the period of singleness. Now, why I say singleness is because I was really single. I was very much so in love with Marcus. I mean, it took some time to be in love with him, but I liked him from the start, and we just were not involved. And you guys have heard my story. If you haven't, check out my how I let go of a bad relationship, and you can look on my 30-day fast. I have a video about it where I kind of go into a bit more detail about that period with Marcus. But I really did not have a single time, you know, where it was just me and where I was cool being by myself. I didn't really have that. And I realized very quickly that I was so, like, who I was is who I was in a relationship. That was how I defined myself. And I saw the danger in that. And why I'm talking about this is because I want to kind of show a line of succession of, you go through your childhood kind of watching all these fairy tales, and you know, you go through the little puppy love in high school. I had a very serious love in high school, which off the bat, like, it just put me in a position where I loved hard from a young age. And so that was all I knew for relationships. I didn't know how to not give everything.